Today's a crazy day. Markets are down across the board. All equities are getting whacked right now. Trump's sweeping tariffs are hitting the markets very hard. But let me say this. Simply, the world would never agree to adjusting the tariff rates without a significant fear to force them to come to the table. Because nobody on this planet is going to say, okay, we've had these tariffs in place with our country here for the past 30 years, and no president before you has done anything against it. So we're not going to listen to you, right? Why would they come to the table if they did not have a overwhelming fear that they need to get ahead of what's going on and approach Trump and offer him solutions to the problems that he is having with these countries, right? It's like reverse psychology. So it's really going to be short term, and it's really just funny, how the whole world is shaking right now due to these tariffs. Yes, there is uncertainty. Yes, if you are invested right now, there's a lot of red in your account. But the market is an long-term investment vehicle. It's not gambling. It's not, buying red or black and it's up or down one day. It's through, diversification and different strategies that you're really successful. Anybody could buy a stock, right? But in times like these, anybody could panic and sell that stock at a loss. And what did they buy it for in the first place if it just went against what they were trying to do, right? So you got to have a strategy in place, especially for times like these. Anybody who would have thought that Trump's term was going to be fucking roses and there wasn't going to be any problems was lying to themselves. Right? Look at our first Trump term. Now, I voted for the guy first time around and second time around. Why? Because he is the only person that I've seen in office recently that represented people like myself who actually give a damn about this country and other people other than themselves, and is willing to fight for change, because shit wasn't changing. So now shit is actually being forced to change. Which is what we want in a president, right? Joe Biden was president for 4 years, and I never saw that man. I mean, let's be serious. He was never around. Trump has been president for fucking 100 days. I've seen him more than I've seen Joe Biden in the past 4 years. I mean, he was too busy sleeping under his fucking couch than to run this fucking country. Or he was too busy defending Hunter Biden and his sexcapades with drugs, guns, and prostitutes than he was to fucking represent America. That whole Ukraine invasion would have never happened under any other president with a backbone. Maybe Obama would have allowed it because he was the first African-American president and he didn't want to be seen historically as the one that sent us to World War III with Putin, right? So maybe that would have been a consideration, but nobody would have just sat there and done nothing. I mean, that's what Joe Biden did for 4 years. He sat there, talked tough on TV, and did nothing. And look where we are, right? So American people demanded a change, demanded results, demanded a change, right? Now, change is a process, right? It's not fucking instantaneous. The Trump coming into office wasn't going to be the whole world's going to turn around and America is going to be great again. No, there was going to need to be some give and take. So I see this volatility as very short term, and it's going to be very short lived. And people that are investing right now, my advice to you is do not panic. Panic is the worst enemy of profit, right? Because you see this, you think world's over, sell. Not even realizing you're down fucking 50% right now over political drama that is going to be short-lived, right? So if I'm right and it is short-lived, what are you going to do? Buy the security back when it's back to where it was before you sold it? You're an idiot, right? So don't do that. Don't sell good companies, right? If you're sitting in a bunch of small cap companies right now, I would be worried, right? And I would be looking to reduce or limit exposure through buying protective puts, by selling some of my speculative positions that, sometimes we buy things not because we fully believe in the outcome of the future company, but because of the price volatility, right? So sometimes we do gamble in investments, right? And not everybody's right all the time. Sometimes we got to take, the long shots. And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't, right? But you got to hedge yourself either way. So this way, if it doesn't work out, your loss is minimal. But if it does work out, you come out smelling like roses. And yeah, you might have had to pay a little more, but a win's a win, right? So if you had to pay $20 for a win of $50 instead of paying $10 and risking the $10 and it goes down to fucking $5 and you had nothing hedging you, you're going to feel that much worse than somebody who spent a little more on a hedge through buying a put or selling a call or, things of that nature that take risk off the table and put, either cash in your account or put basically, when you buy a put, you're basically buying insurance on a company. You're saying, hey, I think this stock is going down in the short term, but this stock is a great company and I will not accept anything less than, $10 a share, let's say. If the stock currently is trading at, $15 a share, that $10 put is going to cost you significantly less than the $15 put. And there's no guarantee that it's going to 10. So if it doesn't go to 10, now your loss exposure has been minimized because of the investment decision of not to buy the 15 and spend all that premium, but to buy the 10 and pay a lesser amount of premium. And if the stock does go down, your put guarantees you an out at that strike price up until that expiration date, as long as you buy it. If you sell it, you don't have any rights, right? But if you buy the put buyers are guaranteed a specific price up to a specific expiration. So if the company that you hold is $20 a share and all this volatility going on right now, I would look at buying puts around 25 to 50% under where the stock is currently trading. And the reason being is because the ones that replicate where the stock is currently are going to be much more expensive, right? And since we are going with the basis that this is going to be short-termed and short-lived and eventually going to blow over, spending all that money in premium just doesn't make sense, right? But you do want some kind of protection. So definitely buy a put, whether it be 25% under, whether it be in the money where the stock is currently, but don't buy a leap going out 2 years. Buy an option that expires in June. So that way the premium is significantly cheaper than the ones expiring next year, because time value adds to the expense of owning the investment vehicle, which is an option. So, again, there's plenty of factors to keep in mind. There's various ways that this could work out. Hell, I could be wrong, right? But simply put, our country did not go under yet, and we've faced many challenges to date since the existence of our country. So I don't think this is going to be the end of us. Matter of fact, I see this as the very beginning of something really special, right? Because let's just go best case scenario. Best case scenario. Best case scenario is Trump threatens the world with 50% tariffs, right? But currently, the world has been getting at least 5 or 20% tariffs from us. Well, if Trump's threatening them with 50% and we end up giving them nothing instead of 5 to 20% tariffs, that's a win for the U.S. That is money not going out to some other country, that is going to stay onshore, going into our economy, into our schools, into our roads, into our factories, into us, right? So that's a win. And then what can we then do with that money, right? They mention about how this past election, when Trump was campaigning and he was saying that, he put all these tariffs on China back when he was in office, right? But when Biden came in, they didn't take those tariffs off of China because the money coming in was astounding. And they weren't going to hurt America like that by taking away that income, right? So that money was coming in then all the way up until now, still coming in. Now expected more to come in, right? So what could America do for Americans with a surplus of cash, right? My whole life, we've been in debt to China. That's all you heard in elementary, high school. They own us. Everything was made from China, this, that, and the third. What if we change that right here and now? What if America-made products become the majority as they were 50 years ago, right? What if we brought all that back in-house, right? All those new jobs, all those new manufacturing. And what if the rest of the world who is making a boatload of cash off of our economy, off our markets, off our consumers, off of our capital markets, what if the rest of the world paid us hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs, and we use that money to invest in America? Where would America be in 4 years? Because my entire existence, we've took care of the world. Any country had a dispute with another, we were there. We sent aid, we sent support, we sent American lives, American jobs. We were fucking there, right? But when we need something, nobody's there. So for once, to have somebody in office that puts us first and is willing to take some pain for ultimately a significant gain, and worst case scenario, world is coming to an end, he could easily go back to the way things were and everybody's panties would untwist and we would go back to the way we were 6 months ago, owing China fucking trillions of dollars and America being cash poor broke and third world countries selling products here becoming superpowers because they're making all this money off of us and we get nothing, right? They take our money out, put it into their country and give us squat diddly do in return. So who's winning? Not us. Hence why everything's so fucking expensive, you know? So I see it as change is inevitable. And for once, we have somebody that is changing things that could actually make a difference in America. Imagine at the end of Trump's term for America to be debt-free from the rest of the world. Not saying it will happen, not saying it could even happen. It's probably not going to happen. But if it did happen, this is the way to do it. And we have a president in office that has the balls and the stones to take hate from the world for these actions right now. Who's not panicking, who's not calling every country in the world and begging them to still fucking send us Christmas cards while they rob us in the middle of the night, as Biden would be doing, right? So everybody needs to relax, is the short and sweet of it. People that are losing their shirt in the market right now, my advice to you is turn off CNBC, get away from your phone. Yes, it looks bad. Yes, it's going to look bad tomorrow. But no, it is not going to. The end of the world is not here because Trump raises tariffs. I mean, we've suffered and endured so much as a nation, and so has the rest of the world with their own struggles. I highly doubt a raise in taxes is going to result in the whole world ending. Because if that's the case, then what the fuck what stability were we really built on in the first place? That's my question, right? If the whole world's going to end on taxes, then what the fuck was it to begin with? So, my advice, everybody relax. If you're heavily invested in the market right now, yes, the worst thing that you could do right now is do nothing. But another worst thing you could do is panic and sell everything, right? So don't take those losses, right? Unless you're looking for fucking losses to write off against gains during tax season, right? I mean, that happens. But if you don't need to take those losses, don't take those losses and don't panic. You know, think about 2008. What happened, right? People panicked and banks were fucking going out of business, right? But that also made millionaires. Because anybody with a little vision knew that the American government was not going to let American banks go out of business. America wasn't going to cease to exist because the banking system had error in judgment. I mean, let's be serious. We print money every day for every other country in the world for any other fucking reason than American needs, right? So when the government step in for America, I highly doubt they're going to let us fail. Yeah, they're not going to let us fucking always win, right? Because then it's rigged, and then it's not investing or gambling. It's just a sure win, right? And that's not what life is, and that's not what our markets are or ever were or are going to be, right? There's going to be volatility. There's going to be times of peaks and valleys, right? So plan ahead for the peaks and valleys. Take advantage of the peaks and valleys. Understand that they are just that, peaks and valleys. Look at a chart of the S&P 500 over the course of a year. Now go back 5 years, and you will see peaks and valleys. But you will see that we always end out on top. Now, again, I'm not a genius, right? I certainly don't have a crystal ball, and I'm not worth $10 bajillion. I seriously wish I was. I mean, Lord knows the knowledge I have in this market would baffle the most, most people in the world, right? Because I know my shit. But yeah, I'm telling you, I invest with you. I have a portfolio in the market. Anybody who's seen the 5 videos I posted, they're all market related. I am an investor at heart, and I've been an investor since, early 2000s. And again, I do very well for myself and the people that I care enough to look out for. And, I've always cared a lot for my fellow man, for my fellow country, for my fellow neighbor, right? I see somebody in need of help, I'm there to help. I see somebody coming in the door of a store with a child, I'm there to hold the door open, right? I'm a human being, right? I care about some other people other than myself. I don't know if that's, part of being a human or part of me just being a jerk off. I don't know, but that's who I am, right? So I try to help people. And I say this to say that is where this video is coming from. I make nothing off of this video. I make nothing from you taking my advice. I certainly am not giving you advice that you should be trading off of without us speaking to some kind of a financial representative, because this is not financial information. This is me, Joe, giving you my personal advice about what I'm doing in the market and what I'm seeing in the market as far as opportunities to where you could capitalize on. I mean, look at Rigetti. Rigetti is a technology company in the quantum computing's industry that I heavily got involved with back in late December. I got involved in that stock around $2. You know what my exit was? $20. You know how long I waited? 3 months, not even. I mean, I was in that position not even 60 days, and I already got out of it at 20. So it's certainly not 20 now. You would say, hey, I went to 20, it could go to 40. Yeah, go fuck yourself, right? Because it could also go to 0, right? I saw that gain, and every time that stock went up 20% higher, I felt the pain of it coming down because, simply put, if you don't sell the gain, you never realize the gain. The gain is no good to you if you can't use the money to benefit your loved ones. Right, so I sold it at 20. Stock's fucking $7 right now. I'm actually thinking, I'm watching it, waiting to see how low it goes. Because if it goes back to $2, you bet your ass I'm buying it. Because it is very undervalued at $2. At $7, it's somewhat fairly valued. Because if this thing can actually produce quantum chips that can compete with NVIDIA and actually manufacture them here in the States and have everything it needs right here and not need Taiwan Semiconductor to, send them components, this thing could be the next NVIDIA 10 years from now. So, yes. Do I like the opportunity? Yes. Am I watching it? Yes. What's the symbol? RGTI. Rigetti. Rigetti is the name of the company. Definitely check it out. And when you make it rich off of it, give me a thumbs up. And maybe like this video, because I don't post videos. I don't know how to do all the technology and AI shit. I know how to watch the market, chart the stocks, and perform well with recommendations and market volatility. So this is about as close as I come to an AI generated video. Again, sorry that my house might be a mess in the background, but shit, it is what it is. This is Running with the Bulls. My name is Joe. If you liked what you heard, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe. I could certainly use some more subscribers. I think I might have like 1 or 2. So hit me up, But otherwise, I wish I could help you. If you need help, you need something a little bit more personal, reach out. I'm here. I do this shit for a living. I do this shit for my family. I do this shit for my friends. I have family that are owners of wealth management companies on Wall Street still to this day. Quite frankly, I feel like I'm smarter than them, so I don't really take their advice, and I, tend to do better than them. So, why I don't own a company is beyond me. But here I am. Here you are. It was a pleasure meeting you, talking to you. Keyword today, keywords, don't panic. It's going to be all right. It's going to be short-lived, but diversification is always the key to success. And just take a breath, turn off CNBC, and walk away. Go spend some time with the family, because that's what counts, right? Because tariffs and making money is it's all fake. Money is irrelevant in life. What's important in life? Family. Family is the only asset in life that cannot be bought. And when you have none, it's the only asset in life that you can't go out and just randomly buy, to get, right? Well, your family is your family. You can't pick them. You can't choose them. When they're gone, they're gone. When they're here, they're here. They're the investment I like to focus on. So that's what I got to say. I wish everybody the best. Hope all's well, and see you next time on Running with the Bulls. Dun, 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 dun.